Hi, I'm Catherine Morgan from Point A to Point B Transitions. I'm a career transition expert, business consultant, and the author of This Isn't Working, Evolving the Way We Work to Decrease Stress, Anxiety, and Depression. But today I'm bringing my business consultant hat and talking to my dear friend, Morgan Rabas. She is a sales leader and has some tips to share with us for hiring the right sales rep for your business. Hi, Morgan.
Hi, thanks for having me. I'm
Tell me,
excited.
yeah, I'm excited too. This is going to be fun. Tell us a little bit about your background in sales.
Yes, so I was very fortunate to figure out what I wanted to do very early on in my career. I've been in sales and sales leadership for about 10 years now, and actually started my career in college and competed in sales competitions, which really led me to my first sales job ever, where I was working for Michelin selling commercial truck tires. So, if you can imagine, if I made it through that, I really can make it through anything. I've had the privilege of learning a few different industries over the years. I've spent the past couple of years in the technology and SaaS space, and I'm excited to talk more with you today.
You must be one tough woman to start your career selling industrial truck tires. I am not going to mess with you.
I've learned a lot.
I'll bet. So at a certain point, the company grows, whether they sell products or services, and they need to hire a sales rep. I have a feeling that most people have no idea how to do this or what questions they should use to uncover a person who's going to be successful in sales. Because just because somebody has a couple sales jobs on their resume doesn't necessarily mean that they're a great salesperson. Let's start with how how would a company figure out what kind of sales help they need?
Yeah, it's a great question. I think it's the easier question to answer too. Before you can figure out who to hire, you really have to sit down internally and lay out some processes in terms of what you're looking for so that not only who you hire can be successful, but you can have clear expectations as well. So, first and foremost, I would say looking at in terms of revenue, what you're doing today, how you've managed it so far. Is your business mostly inbound leads, or is it really a full cold calling, prospecting sales cycle? Once you determine that, it will help also target who you're looking for in a sales rep. So, getting clear in terms of what your sales process is today and how you're managing it. And then also setting clear expectations for, if let's just say I'm in an inbound model and I'm getting X amount of leads per day that marketing's sending. What is the conversion rate? What does that look like? And then what's realistic for someone to come in and do? And vice versa, if you're in a newer, company, a startup, or really looking to grow your business, my challenge would be if you really need help in terms of lead generation and building pipeline, maybe it's an easier conversation to start with an SDR or someone who can manage, a lot of cold outreach, cold calling, and help build pipeline for other tenured sales reps to close. It might also be more cost effective too initially.
Now you've got me thinking there's actually a bunch of options depending on how you're going to market, what's the current state of your marketing. So if you're sitting here and you have maybe banner ads or you have paid ads on social or whatever you have in place serving you leads, and you're thinking to yourself, oh my gosh, I have too many leads, I'm not following up, things are falling through the cracks, I need somebody to come in and help me make sure we're actually reaching out to the people who already raised their hand that they want to have a conversation. What kind of sales rep would I hire for that?
Okay, first off, I think that's every business owner's dream. I think everyone wants to have a lead generation problem. So if that is your business and that's where you're at, I think that's an amazing place to be. Now we know that not all inbounds, right, convert. And so depending on kind of what that conversion rate looks like, but I would say focusing at that point, you need someone who can come in, contact sort of a high velocity model, is depending on the amount of leads or outreach that's expected. Getting someone who is comfortable, I would say probably in that model, most of it's going to be done on the phone. If it's in person, that's a different story, but we'll just assume most of this is going to be done virtually or in an office on the phone. I would say looking to someone who is comfortable in a sort of inside sales model or a earlier in their career sales rep who is comfortable in that high velocity model. And we call high velocity just right, the more touch points, the better. Someone who's not afraid to pick up the phone and continue reaching out. In these types of situations, it's generally a quicker sales cycle, it's more touch points. And so having someone who's comfortable in that sort of day-to-day, hour-by-hour expectations is going to make your expectations a lot easier. And also focusing sort of on that inside sales model, someone or salesperson, someone who has that experience will be able to kind of jump right in and help closing sales quickly.
So it seems like you would need someone who's fairly tenacious and someone who has a strong sense of follow through and continues to reach out until they get a no, and maybe even after the first no to see if it's a real no. Is that correct?
Yeah, I say to everyone, I mean, we all know sales is tough, right? Especially it can be in, that higher velocity, faster environment. And so to your point, someone who has the confidence and competence to wake up every day, know what they need to do and motivate themselves in a sense. Now, there's always going to be other things that are motivating them, whether it be career success or money or just the company and stability, but really making sure that someone has that ability to motivate themselves because so much of sales is what can I do next? What's one more thing I can do today? And so having that confidence in yourself and that motivation to just get it done.
Perfect. I love that you framed this as a good problem to have, that most businesses would love to have too many leads, which reminds me that lead generation is actually a big problem for a lot of businesses. If you're looking for a salesperson to help generate leads, you're going to hire a different kind of individual, I would think. Is that correct?
Yeah. So at this point, I think this is probably where, to your point, a lot of companies are looking at is how do I build more pipeline? How do I get more leads? How do I generate more companies or prospects that we're talking to? The easiest way to do this from a sales perspective is to have, I mean, this is my opinion, my perspective, but I think getting a team or even one or two SDRs, what we call sales development rep, someone who could be right out of college, an entry level role, or someone just transitioning into sales that is willing to just call and cold outreach, maybe LinkedIn, maybe email, and maybe just make a bunch of phone calls every day to generate interest. And then at that point, when they're just really responsible for getting people on the phone, making a connection and qualifying them at a really high level. So they don't have to be responsible for closing, right? Generally, they're less experienced, which I think can be great because you have the ability to coach and teach them along the way. And also, pending their success, they can continue to move up in your organization into, let's say, like a closing role. But every account executive, right, or good account executive, sales rep, should be able to do this on their own, right? That's
Oh,
the
no, no,
assumption that we
no.
have
I've coached
happening.
a lot of salespeople who are more gatherers than hunters. Finding a true hunter who enjoys that type of thing because it's a different mindset and it's a different way to approach your day than trying to shake the trees
Yeah.
versus, cultivating somebody. Even just a trade show lead. Somebody said, yes, please call me. That seems to be a different mindset for salespeople than the smiling and dialing, I call it.
Yeah. I think the easiest way to weed out the differences too, and right, there's nothing wrong. We need account managers, we need farmers, but it's it's also not right if you're looking for someone to drive new business and to really be a hunter. Having that conversation with the rep, you'll know within the first couple minutes. And if you lay out the expectations, this is a hunter role, usually they're going to self-select out because in that environment, or you'll be able to tell in terms of like your point characteristics, work ethic, what have they done previously, and do they have experience in a similar situation? And you don't always need sales experience to be successful in sales. I think just looking at an individual's, career path or where their trajectory has been in life, I think athletes especially are great to get into sort of a sales environment, or really anyone who kind of has that desire to just go out and make their own path.
Okay. That makes sense to me. If I'm the business owner and I'm asking some questions, you've interviewed a lot of sales reps during your career. What are some of your favorite interview questions to identify a sales rep who might be successful?
It's a good question. To me, I think there's no perfect question. I think especially in today's environment, for me, a lot of it comes down to how do I understand what their mindset is, looking at, previous experience. Like I said, it doesn't have to be sales. It could be, groups, organizations, or, even leadership potential.
Mhm.
Um, and so I guess looking at the questions and to say, how can I determine, why this person wants to be in sales to me is a pretty clear answer. Understanding their motivator for wanting to be in this type of environment, this sales job can also help you later, help grow their career and help develop them. Um, there's not a lot of people that I shouldn't say there's not a lot of people. I guess there is quite a few people that, want to stay in sales and are driven, but understanding their expectations of themselves and then also, why do they want to do this? And then how is this going to benefit their life and how can they continue to grow, in this role and help your company deliver?
So I guess you would be looking for people who are fairly self-directed, fairly
Yeah,
self-aware. So they would, when they need to give themselves a pep talk, when they need to double down, when they need to take a break. Like, can you get that in an interview conversation?
it depends. I like to think you can. Situational questions are huge, right? Understanding if they have, generally, they're going to have some experience, having them walk you through a previous challenging sale where maybe they've, like, what have they faced internally, and then how have they closed a deal, with those challenges along the way, and can they document that step by step to you? It will help you understand the big picture, kind of what they've done, but it'll also help you understand their thought process and how they think through each approach to challenges, because there's always going to be something that comes up on a deal, whether it's, a small deal or a large enterprise deal, there's always something that comes up. And so understanding how they can handle those situations, what their thought process is, will also help you.
Stories of resilience and walking people through, or in the interview situation, having them walk you through a sale or a process. So you get to know how they think and what options they explored with the prospect, or whether they're just like, this ain't working and hit the door, which probably isn't what you're paying them for.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yes. And understanding their approach to prospecting, I think there's no harm in, if I'm a business and I'm like, I'm going to lay out, here's where I'm at today. Let's say you have a prospect list of 300 accounts and you're like, I have a prospect list of 300 accounts. How would you approach this situation, or where would you start? Will also give you an idea of, where that person's going to come in and how they think through that approach, because so much of the day is prospecting.
Okay, good. Once again, trying to figure out how they think, how they approach their work. If they have a sense of opportunity, or if they're like 300 people, that's going to take me a year to go through, that's probably not your hire either.
Exactly.
Okay. You've given us a lot to think about, Morgan. Thank you so much. I really appreciate your time.
Yes, thank you. Thanks for having me, and love talking with you always.